Ash vs Kukui was an epic full battle clash between father and son that easily became one of the best battles in the Pokemon anime. Despite its immense love, however, I can guarantee you probably missed many of the hidden details and Easter eggs in this battle, such as a reference to Ash's Kalos team, a goated Naruto reference, and callbacks to Black and White. This battle is jam-packed with Easter eggs and references, so in this complete breakdown of Ash vs Kukui, we'll go over the details you probably missed. Comment which Easter eggs are your favorite and subscribe for more Pokemon anime content like this. With that said, let's get started. We begin by picking up from the last episode where Ash, Kukui, the Kahunas, and the rest of the Alola gang work together to fend off invading Guzzlord from destroying the Alola region. After the Guzzlord threat is extinguished, it's revealed that Professor Kukui is actually the Masked Royal. This shocks everyone, including Faba for some reason, who's already known longer than anyone else that Kukui was the Masked Royal because he found out when Team Rocket was threatening the Alola region earlier in the series. And of course, Banette is head over heels for Kukui more than ever after finding out she's married to both Kukui and the Masked Royal. Ash is absolutely amazed at this revelation and is now more stoked than ever for his exhibition match against Kukui. When the intro plays for Ultra Legends, we begin with this shot of the Alolan sunset that shines a brilliant orange as it glows to transition us to a shot of Ash running with Pikachu to jump off a cliff and dive into the ocean. We see some common water-type Pokemon as Ash and Pikachu swim to the surface, such as Tentacool and Seadra. Then we get a shot of Ash and his friends wearing their Ultra Guardian uniforms. The Ultra Guardians was a team founded by Lusamine at the Aether Foundation to protect Alola from any threats the Ultra Beasts could potentially pose. This could also be a nod to the classic Power Rangers, who wear various colored uniforms and have battled plenty of alien enemies over the years. Then there's a shot of Gladion on some rocky terrain, followed by Hau with his Dartrix and Ash's Rowlet. Rowlet would go on to have a friendly rivalry with Hau's Dartrix and eventual Decidueye shortly after meeting Hau. In the original opening, this shot is longer as it actually begins with Ash opening his Pokeball to send out his Lycanroc against Gladion's Lycanroc. Then we see Rowlet and Dartrix and then Ash's Torracat battling Kukui's Incineroar, followed by Pikachu firing Thunderbolt at Zeraora. Here, this refers to the episode where Ash and Pikachu were stuck in an alternate world where they met Dia and his Zeraora. We see Ash on the beach with his friends, then a shot of Ash training and playing on the beach with his Pokemon at night as he has done plenty of times throughout this series. Then there's a shot of Ash and Pikachu ready to start their day, and this also is extended slightly in the original opening as it begins with a shot of Ash grabbing his backpack and then showing Rowlet giving a thumbs up. We see Lana's Eevee doing some Mantine surfing being a new feature introduced in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon as a fun way to travel between the islands of Alola and gain battle points. We see Ash and company on the beach again, and this shot is weirdly split in the English opening. In the original opening, this shot originally begins with Ash and Pikachu sitting on the beach as Ash holds a Pokeball and begins to cry, probably sad over a loss or concerned about his Pokemon. And then that's when his friends pick him up and cheer him up. Yet in the English opening, this emotional and wholesome shot is broken up for some reason, and then we end on a shot of Ash and Pikachu laying on the ground admiring the Alola sky with some clouds and a rainbow. This shot actually has more meaning in the original opening as the subtitles say, "Go on, chase after the rainbow feather." This of course being a reference to Ash's never-ending dream to become a Pokemon master, as his journey began with seeing Ho-Oh after he and Pikachu survived the attack from the flock of Spearow, making Ho-Oh integral to Ash's character. Kukui says their battle will be a full 6-on-6 battle, to which Ash responds by asking if he can use Naganadel in their battle, to which Kukui agrees since they're family. We then see Naganadel make a painting of the electric type symbol on the pier. This symbolizes its friendship and strong bond with Pikachu, since Pikachu was the main one on Ash's team who took care of it and helped it as a Poipole. Poipole loved to nuzzle up against Pikachu anytime it could and always made paintings to show its appreciation and love. So this little moment here is really sweet. Lana also makes an interesting comment as she says League Creator versus League Champion, which might just be a regular line to most, but for me, it immediately makes me think of the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters anime. In Season 1 during Duelist Kingdom, we got a duel between Seto Kaiba and Maximilian Pegasus in the episode Champion vs. Creator Parts 1 and 2, where Kaiba challenged Pegasus to a duel to save his little brother Mokuba. So it's neat to see this Champion vs. Creator matchup here in Pokemon too. They probably didn't intend this reference at all, but they made me think of it, which was cool. Professor Kukui is voiced by Abe Goldfarb. Yeah, I know, Goldfarb, right? But Abe has also voiced Xerosic in the Pokemon XYZ anime too. Outside of Pokemon, he's also voiced Liam Stepford in Technobabylon, Tiberius from Shardlight, Reggie in Resonance, and Joey Balone in the Blackwell series. We then cut to Ash training with his Pokemon before his match against Kukui. He's practicing double Iron Bash with Melmetal, and they both spin to give the attack more power and strength. As they spin, they both resemble Kukui's Incineroar using Darkest Lariat. Ash then gives Torracat a pep talk saying how it's his time to finally defeat Kukui's Incineroar. Ash of course acknowledging the long-standing rivalry Ash's Torracat has had with Incineroar since it was a Litten, though we see Burnett visit Kukui while he's meditating with Incineroar before the battle, saying she hopes for a great battle. It's now time for the battle we've been waiting for, Ash Ketchum versus Professor Kukui. And before we begin breaking down this battle, I need to point out that this entire battle itself could be one giant reference and callback to the hidden and unused final boss battle from Pokemon Red and Blue, the Professor Oak Champion battle. In the data for the original Red and Blue games, there is data for a final battle against Professor Oak where he will use one of the Kanto starters along with Tauros, Exeggutor, Arcanine, and Gyarados, a pretty strong team that also feels like a team a rival would use. In comparison, Kukui uses 3 starters, one of which is a Venusaur from Kanto, along with a bird Pokemon in Braviary and Lucario. So Kukui's team could also be seen as an alternate version of Red's team from Gold, Silver, Crystal, where he'll have 3 starters as well. Seeing as how Sun and Moon was the generation that celebrated Pokemon's 20th anniversary, a little Easter egg like this in the anime makes all the sense in the world. Ash and Kukui walk across the field to greet each other and shake hands before the battle starts, and you can see that look of determination and strong will in their eyes. Pikachu's ready to go, but Ash won't be starting the battle with him this time. Instead, he sends out Torracat. Kukui had a feeling he'd do that and respond by sending out Incineroar. We then get this incredibly dynamic pan shot across the battlefield, showing Kukui, Incineroar, Pikachu, and then Ash with a zoom into Ash's eye to reflect Professor Kukui. I love this imagery and symbolism here as it beautifully portrays the impact Kukui has had on Ash as not only his rival as the Master Royal, not only as his professor at the Pokemon School, but most importantly as his Alolan father. Their bond is truly one of the most special and one of the best in the entire anime. This shot here is also the same kind of dynamic shot we'd see years later during Ash's battle against Leon in the finals of the Masters 8 tournament. Ash begins the battle by using Flame Charge. This move parallels how Ash's first 2 battles against Incineroar played out, albeit having those 2 battles start with Ash having Litten charge in with Fire Fang instead of Flame Charge. Incineroar deflects the attack using Bulk Up. Ash has Torracat use Flame Charge and then mimics Kukui's pose when he tells it to attack with more speed, since Flame Charge increases a Pokemon's speed the more it's used. Incineroar tries to counter with Darkest Lariat, but Torracat dodges the attack. Ash goes for Fire Fang, but Incineroar blocks the attack and smacks Torracat to the ground. Ash declares that they're just warming up and commands another Flame Charge. This moment also makes me think of when Ash tells Leon that their battle is just getting started when it's down to Pikachu versus Charizard in the finals of the Masters 8 tournament. This time when Ash uses Flame Charge, he has Torracat run circles around Incineroar to try and confuse it. This tactic looks incredibly similar to Rock Lee fighting Gaara during the Chunin preliminary exams from Naruto, but Incineroar remains calm and strikes back with Throat Chop, a move that very much resembles Ash's Infernape striking down Paul's Ninjask with Mach Punch during the Sinnoh quarterfinals. Now it's Kukui's turn to attack and he goes for a devastating Blast Burn, the ultimate fire type move. But instead of dodging the attack, Torracat charges in head on to face the flames, blocking them just like Ash's Charizard blocked Fire Blast from Blaine's Magmar. This is also another moment of Ash dealing with Blast Burn at the end of a Pokemon League, although this time his Pokemon survives the attack as Torracat makes the flames his own and absorbs them into its pendant. It's a shame Ash's other Pokemon couldn't handle Blast Burn. With the flames of Blast Burn burning inside Torracat, Ash calls this Blast Torracat. However, the flames prove to be too much as smoke emanates from Torracat's pendant. Becoming overwhelmed, Ash returns Torracat and then proceeds to send out Lycanroc against Incineroar. With Incineroar unable to move due to using Blast Burn, Ash launches Accelerock with Lycanroc. The move lands a direct hit. Ash follows up with Stone Edge, however Incineroar is now able to move again and counters with Darkest Lariat, breaking the stone pillars. But Ash has the idea to have Lycanroc grab a piece of the broken Stone Edge to strike down Incineroar. This is the same idea he used against Bryson in the Icera City gym to win against his Beartic. The attack connects and deals damage to Incineroar. Kukui returns Incineroar for a rest and sends out Braviary. As he does, this makes Hala reminisce about Kukui as a young trainer with his Litten, remembering the drive and passion he's always had for battling, thinking that little Ku, as he calls him, is right here with them. Ash keeps Lycanroc in the battle. The battle ends with Braviary launching a powerful Rock Slide attack toward Lycanroc. A fantastic start to Ash and Kukui's full battle with some dynamic back and forth attacks from Torracat and Incineroar. We begin with a quick recap of last episode, going over the start of Ash and Kukui's full battle, showcasing the fiery display of power and strength from Torracat and Incineroar, as well as the start of the battle between Braviary and Lycanroc. We then get the Pokemon Sun and Moon Ultra Legends opening, but for a full breakdown of the opening, be sure to check out part 1 of this battle's breakdown. The battle between Braviary and Lycanroc continues, and Ash has Lycanroc use counter to knock back the Rock Slide, landing a direct hit on Braviary. It then falls out of the sky, kinda like a kite that can't be held up anymore, or even like a fighter jet that's been shot down out of the sky. Kukui follows up with Skydrop, marking the first time this move has been used in the anime despite being introduced all the way back in Generation 5. Lycanroc deals damage using Bite, but Braviary hangs tough and brings it up into the sky. Braviary keeps ascending to new altitudes with Lycanroc gripped tight between its talons. Braviary begins to descend rapidly and slams Lycanroc into the ground. This kind of battling move, of course, was made famous by Ash's Charizard in the original series and Battle Frontier when it would use Seismic Toss to land the final blow. Lycanroc withstands the attack, but has suffered heavy damage. It uses Stone Edge and Braviary defends using Steel Wing to slice through the rocks. With Lycanroc unable to see, Braviary strikes it with a powerful and super effective Superpower attack. Lycanroc tries to hang tough, but between Superpower and Skydrop, the damage has become too much and it is unable to battle. Kukui has now further proved how strong he is by defeating Ash's ace Pokemon that allowed him to become Alola's first champion. Although I will say while Braviary did use some very strong moves, it kind of undermines Lycanroc's strength and resilience given all the damage it took against Gladian's Lycanroc, and it managed to keep battling and win. But I digress. With Lycanroc out of commission, Ash sends out Rowlet next for some sky battling. When Rowlet hits the field, he's wearing his Decidueye costume that he wore during his battle against Hau's Decidueye earlier in the league. Rowlet's entrance to his previous battle and this battle parallels Halucha's entrance to Ash's battle against Sawyer in the Kalos League semi-finals. Rowlet fires off Razor Leaf and Braviary cuts through it with Steel Wing. Ash tells Rowlet to fly high, and Ash would actually say this same thing later on in Pokemon Journeys to his Dragonite. Braviary chases after Rowlet, but once they get high enough, Rowlet fires Seed Bomb at Braviary and hits it directly in the face. The way Rowlet uses Seed Bomb here is actually quite unique, as in order to use the move, Rowlet launches an Everstone at its opponent. Rowlet received this Everstone in the episode No Stone Unturned. During that episode, Rowlet visited its foster family of Toucanon and Trumbeak, where it attempted to learn Bullet Seed. Despite Rotom saying it's unable to learn this move, Rowlet ends up finding an Everstone, and while practicing Bullet Seed, it ends up learning Seed Bomb instead. Ash then tells Rowlet to keep using Seed Bomb and lands another direct hit to Braviary's face. Then they actually end up starting a volley with the Seed Bomb as Rowlet launches it back and Braviary hits it back with Steel Wing, almost like a game of tennis. Braviary eventually manages to land a hit on Rowlet with Steel Wing and knocks it down. Kukui then goes for Superpower and Ash counters with Brave Bird, and at the last second, Rowlet quickly evades Superpower and strikes Braviary's leg with Brave Bird, throwing it off balance and causing it to crash into the ground. Braviary is now unable to battle. Then in typical Rowlet fashion, it strikes a cool pose after winning. With Braviary down for the count, Kukui's next Pokemon is Venusaur, his second starter Pokemon to be revealed on his team. Ash starts off strong with Brave Bird, but to everyone's surprise, Kukui has Venusaur trap Rowlet within its giant flower, immobilizing Rowlet. Rowlet struggles to break free and Venusaur prepares to use Solar Beam. Ash panics, but then gets an idea and has Rowlet use Feather Dance. Venusaur fires off Solar Beam, but by using Feather Dance, Rowlet escapes the blast unharmed. This is the same tactic he used in his battle against Hau to escape the damage from his Decidueye Sky attack. Ash tries to end this with Brave Bird, but Rowlet is struck down by Venusaur's Sludge Bomb and then beaten down by its signature Vine Whip attack. This strong combo knocks out Rowlet. Ash then sends out Torracat to deal with Kukui's Venusaur. Torracat is raring to go, and Kukui has Venusaur use Vine Whip to ensnare Torracat while it tries to counter with Fire Fang. But even while caught in Venusaur's grip, the flames travel down the vines to inflict damage to Venusaur. This style of attack is actually the same exact thing Ash did when he caught his Bulbasaur. Talk about one hell of a callback. Torracat fires off Fire Blast and Ash again mimics Kukui's pose when giving the attack. Venusaur tries to stop it with Sludge Bomb, but it's no good. The attack lands a direct hit, and the explosive damage knocks out Venusaur, making Torracat the winner. See, in this series, Grass-type Pokemon actually lost to Fire-type moves, not just endured them because reasons like other certain Grass-type starters later on. Ash then recalls Torracat after defeating Venusaur as now it's ready to take on Incineroar in the match. Professor Kukui's next Pokemon is Empoleon, his third starter Pokemon on his team. So now we've seen a starter native to Alola, one starter from Kanto, and one from Sinnoh. We've also seen his Lucario from Sinnoh and his Braviary from Unova. Maybe this was a soft tease at the kind of team Ash would assemble later in Pokemon Journeys, since Kukui's team is built from Pokemon from various Pokemon regions. After Empoleon hits the field, Rotom gives us Empoleon's first ever Dex entry in the entire anime, despite Empoleon making its anime debut roughly 500 episodes ago and berries busting out all over. Yeah, we don't talk about that episode title. This is also Empoleon's first appearance since the Sinnoh League. Ash's next Pokemon is finally Pikachu, and now it's become Empoleon versus Pikachu. Pikachu starts with Electro Web, but Empoleon breaks through with Metal Claw. This is a reference to Kenny's Prinplup using Metal Claw to defend against Pikachu's Thunderbolt back in Diamond and Pearl. using the same move to defend against Pikachu's electric attacks. Ash decides to fight Steel with Steel and goes for Iron Tail. Kukui goes for Metal Claw again, and the two Pokemon clash back and forth. As they do, you can see the passion burning in their eyes of Ash and Kukui, truly signifying how close they are and what their relationship has built up to as both rivals and family. Kukui has Empoleon use Drill Peck, but Pikachu successfully uses Electro to block the attack and knock Empoleon back. It then uses Whirlpool to trap Pikachu as it falls back to the ground. Whirlpool was also a move made famous by Dawn's Piplup back in Diamond and Pearl to also trap opponents and deal heavy damage. Whirlpool causes Pikachu to become too dizzy to continue battling, and it's so disoriented that it falls to the ground besides Ash. Ash recalls Pikachu and sends out his own Steel type to fight Empoleon, Melmetal. And then we get a great detail about Kukui that is very similar to Ash's character. Kukui is clearly excited and has been looking forward to battling Melmetal even though he doesn't know much about this Pokemon, which he admits aloud. This is a characteristic we've seen time and time again in Ash, as he's always been excited to battle new Pokemon. Ash has Melmetal spin with all its might, and Empoleon uses Hydro Pump, but it's completely deflected by Melmetal. Melmetal retaliates with Flash Cannon and knocks Empoleon to the ground, so it switches to Whirlpool, which doesn't do a thing to Melmetal. Melmetal launches Double Iron Bash, and this move blows right through Empoleon's defenses and sends it flying. It falls on top of Kukui and they crash into the wall. Empoleon is now unable to battle. Then we get one of the best moments in the entire battle between Ash and Kukui, where Kukui and Ash tell each other how they've done an amazing job bringing out the strength of their Pokemon. Kukui is absolutely overjoyed with the incredible battle he's been able to have so far with so many surprises. He says this is exactly what a Pokemon battle is supposed to be. He truly shares a lot of characteristics with Ash. We'd even see a similar exchange of praise and excitement between Ash and Leon later in Pokemon Journeys during their battle in the Masters 8. Kukui brings Incineroar back into the battle to face off against Melmetal. He says he's going to muster up all the power he can to take Ash down and orders Darkest Lariat. Ash counters with Flash Cannon, but Incineroar pushes it back and lands a direct hit on Melmetal, but it doesn't go down just yet. Melmetal attacks with Double Iron Bash, but Incineroar grabs Melmetal's arms to block the attack. Melmetal retracts its arms to get right in front of Incineroar, arms locked in combat, each trying to overpower the other. But Kukui declares that after seeing Torracat's power, him and Incineroar are more fired up than ever and orders a point-blank blast burn that engulfs Melmetal in searing flames and causes it to collapse. Melmetal is unable to battle. Interestingly enough, Alan also used this same tactic to defeat Ash's Greninja in their first battle during Pokemon XYZ. Ash recalls Melmetal and Kukui recalls Incineroar. Kukui then sends out his Lucario, which Ash has already seen in battle as it helped in fending off the Guzzlord invasion. Then Ash surprises everyone by bringing out a Beast Ball and sends out the Ultra Beast Naganadel. So now we have Naganadel, the unusual Ultra Beast, versus Lucario, the Aura Pokemon. And now the battle has gotten so interesting that we see even Tapu Koko is watching the battle. This is also now the fourth main Lucario that Ash has ever battled in the anime, as he's battled Maylene's Lucario in the Veilstone City Gym battle, Cameron's Lucario in the Unova League, but we don't talk about that, Karina's Lucario in his Shalor City Gym battle, and now Kukui's Lucario in the Alola League. This is also Naganadel's debut battle, and look how happy it is. The battle ends with Ash attacking with X-Scissor and Kukui attacking with Close Combat. Truly an episode filled with intense back and forth action and dynamic plays from both sides. We pick up right where we left off with Ash's Naganadel and Kukui's Lucario clashing with X-Scissor in close combat. Lucario leaps up to dodge Naganadel's attack and strikes it with close combat. We then get the Sun and Moon Ultra Legends opening, and to see a full breakdown of this opening and theme, be sure to check out my breakdown of part 1 of this battle. The attack knocks back Naganadel, but it hangs tough and shakes it off. Ash attacks with Sludge Bomb and Kukui has Lucario charge straight into the attack, as Poison-type moves are ineffective against Steel types. Ash actually admits he forgot about this type matchup, and normally he's somehow forgetting that electric type moves don't work on ground types when that's Pikachu's only weakness. But here I guess we can let this slide since Ash doesn't use poison types too often, with his last one being Muck. Now at close range, Kukui goes for Dragon Pulse, but Naganadel quickly evades the attack and appears behind Lucario suddenly. Naganadel uses Thunderbolt and Lucario defends the best it can using its arms. It's slammed into the ground with tremendous force. This moment here marks the first time another Pokemon belonging to Ash has used an electric type move outside of Pikachu, and it's even the same exact move being Thunderbolt. This could most likely serve as a nod to the brotherly bond between Pikachu and Naganadel since it was a Poiple. Kukui fires back with close combat again, but Naganadel scores a direct hit with X-Scissor, injuring Lucario. Lucario then uses Extreme Speed, and in contrast to when Tucker's Arcanine used it in the Battle Frontier, here the move has a green glow to it and resembles Pikachu using Quick Attack or Agility. Ash tries to counter with X-Scissor, but Lucario is too fast and strikes down from above with Extreme Speed. This is also Lucario's third and final move that we'll see it used in this battle. This makes it the first Lucario in the entire anime to use the moves of Extreme Speed, close combat and Dragon Pulse, as well as the first Lucario to not use its signature Aura Sphere attack. Ash and Kukui are both aware of each other's movements and battling styles, and then each of them fires off Dragon Pulse in a head-to-head collision. This moment is great as we get another parallel between these two characters to show off how connected they are and fiery their spirits for Pokemon battles are. Ash and Naganadel get fired up and launch one more X-Scissor attack. Lucario defends with close combat, but now Lucario is stuck defending against X-Scissor. Then Ash starts a champion trend that would be used in later battles in Pokemon Journeys. With Lucario stuck in place, Ash uses a point-blank Twin Dragon Pulse to finish off Lucario. This tactic is something that would be used later on in Pokemon Journeys by Leon to defeat Alon's Mega Charizard X, by Iris's Haxorus against Cynthia's Mega Garchomp, and by Leon to try and defeat Ash's Pikachu. After winning its first battle, Naganadel celebrates by spinning and dancing the same way it would when it was a Poipole. Kukui also mentions how Ash copied him from before when he used a point-blank Blast Burn to defeat Melmetal while it was stuck in place as well, showcasing Ash's ability to quickly switch strategies and tactics to go with the circumstances. This is also the first time that Ash has been able to defeat Lucario without losing a Pokemon to it first. Ash returns Naganadel, and now it's time to finish what they started at the beginning of this match. Time for Incineroar versus Torracat again, and here we get a beautiful connection between the two of them as the screen splits to show them both, and then their Pokeballs come together as one as they send out their Pokemon to signify their bond. Truly poetic. Incineroar and Torracat hit the field, and Torracat's pendant is still burning brightly with the power of the flames it absorbed from Blast Burn earlier in this battle. Torracat and Incineroar square off, sizing each other up, waiting to see who will make the first move. Ash and Kukui simultaneously call out their attacks, and it becomes a collision course between Darkest Lariat and Flame Charge. But Torracat manages to strike Incineroar on the side and throw it off balance, and then strike again with Flame Charge causing damage. Ash goes for Fire Fang, and Kukui counters with Throat Chop, sending Torracat flying backwards. Then Kukui has Incineroar use Bulk Up, and this time we see Incineroar's body animated in the same way Stefan's sock would be animated when it used Bulk Up in the Black and White anime. Torracat launches a powerful Fire Blast attack at Incineroar, but it holds back the flames the same way Torracat held back its Blast Burn, and also in the same way Ash's Charizard blocked Blaine's Fire Blast from his Magmar. Incineroar is unfazed by the Fire Blast and subdues the attack. Torracat then proceeds to land several consecutive hits against Incineroar with Flame Charge. It goes for Fire Fang, but is then caught in Incineroar's grip, unable to move. With Torracat helpless to do anything, Incineroar unleashes a devastating Throat Chop attack to knock Torracat back. It seems like Torracat might be out of the match, and with everyone waiting in anticipation to see if Torracat can continue battling, it gets up, ignites its flames, and activates its Blaze ability to power itself up. This moment invokes the same feelings as Ash's Infernape activating its Blaze ability against Paul's Electivire in the Sinnoh League. With its boosted power, Torracat lands a powerful strike with Revenge, causing Incineroar to take a knee. But we know Incineroar isn't done just yet, and it ignites its flames too, activating its own Blaze ability. And then something peculiar happens with Torracat. It ignites its flames even further, becoming this black and red coloration as opposed to Incineroar's more orange and yellow coloration. This could potentially be an extra level of the Blaze ability that only Infernape has been capable of up until now. But even so, Torracat's power still pales in comparison to Infernape's. With their flames hotter than ever, Ash declares that it's time for them to finally settle this. Both Ash and Kukui switch out their Z Crystals to the Firium Z Crystal so that they can use Inferno Overdrive. Ash and Torracat and Kukui and Incineroar ready their attacks in a double Z-move showdown. With all their power, they unleash Inferno Overdrive, and the two gigantic fireballs collide in the middle of the battlefield, creating a huge explosion of fire. The two fire types withstand the blast, and Ash orders one final revenge attack, while Kukui orders one last Throat Chop attack. Each Pokemon charges headfirst into the swirling flames, and they strike each other. A huge explosion is created, and just what a sight to behold. This massive explosion looks just like the final clash between Ash's Infernape and Paul's Electivire at the Sinnoh League as well. When the dust settles, both Pokemon are still standing. Torracat stumbles a bit, but remains standing. However, after all that battling, Incineroar finally goes down, completely exhausted. Ash's Torracat is the winner and has finally overcome Kukui's Incineroar. Then suddenly after winning, Ash's Torracat evolves into Incineroar, marking the first time one of Ash's Pokemon has evolved after winning a battle. The first time one of his Pokemon has evolved during a league battle since his Krabby evolved into Kingler back in the Indigo League, and the first time since he owned Infernape that he's gotten a fully evolved Fire-type starter. But after evolving, Incineroar has also used up all its strength and is frozen in place. It is also unable to battle. Ash and Kukui recall their respective effective Incineroar, and Kukui pulls out his final Pokeball, his last Pokemon. But we will never know what that Pokemon is, as Tapu Koko interrupts the battle and takes a high interest in the battle. It can no longer sit on the sidelines. It goes up to Kukui and slaps the Pokeball out of his hand and takes a fighting stance in front of Ash and Kukui, showing its desire to battle Ash and his Pokemon. Ash, Kukui, and the entire audience agree that they want to see Tapu Koko battle in this match, so now Tapu Koko will serve as Kukui's 6th and final Pokemon. But I've also speculated on what Kukui's final Pokemon could have been, so check that out if you'd like. With Tapu Koko on the field, Pikachu is raring to go, but it's not his time to shine just yet, as Ash sends out Naganadel instead, an Ultra Beast versus an Island Guardian. Quite the interesting matchup given the fact that Island Guardians are meant to protect the Alola region from Ultra Beasts, but now we're getting a sportsmanlike battle between the two. Tapu Koko's ability Electric Surge activates and sets up electric terrain just like in Ash's previous battles with Tapu Koko. The episode ends with Kukui and Ash preparing to square off with Tapu Koko and Naganadel as this battle reaches new heights. What a ferocious continuation of Ash and Kukui's battle! The episode starts with the entire field being supercharged with electric terrain due to Tapu Koko's Electric Surge ability, which powers up electric-type moves. Ash starts the battle with Sludge Bomb, super effective against a fairy-type like Tapu Koko, but rather than dodging it like Kukui said, Tapu Koko defends against the attack using Steel Wing, deflecting all the poison projectiles. Kukui uses Steel Wing again and Ash counters with X-Scissor. The two Pokemon then clash with lightning-fast speed, dashing across the field at a breakneck pace, going blow for blow with Steel Wing and X-Scissor. We then get the Sun and Moon Ultra Legends opening, and for a full breakdown of this opening, be sure to check out my breakdown of part 1 of this battle. When we get the title card of this episode, Ash reads From Z to Shining Z. This is a reference to the line Sea to Shining Sea in the song America the Beautiful written by Catherine Lee Bates in 1893, and Sea to Shining Sea referring to the territory that the US occupies from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean, and of course the Alola region is based on the state of Hawaii located in the Pacific Ocean. Here they replace C with Z, simply referring to the signature battle mechanic of Z moves that originated in the island nation of Alola. The episode picks up again with Tapu Koko and Naganadel clashing with X-Scissor and Steel Wing. Then Tapu Koko goes for Dazzling Gleam, super effective against a dragon type like Naganadel. It tries to defend with X-Scissor but is struck down and descends to the ground. Kukui continues the assault with Steel Wing, but Naganadel recovers and flies up to combat Tapu Koko. To the confusion of everyone, Ash uses Dragon Pulse. It fires the attack at the ground and creates a thick cloud of smoke and dirt. This confuses Tapu Koko, allowing it to emerge from the cloud and strike with X-Scissor. This same tactic was actually used by Ash in the City League against Paul, where he had Gliscor use Stone Edge to collide with Drapion's Cross Poison. In that moment, a cloud of smoke was also created, allowing Gliscor to conceal itself to use Giga Impact and strike Paul's Drapion. Kukui orders another Dazzling Gleam, and Ash launches Sludge Bomb, but Tapu Koko fearlessly charges into Sludge Bomb just like his Lucario. Naganadel is struck with a powerful Dazzling Gleam attack, and then Kukui mercilessly unleashes an electric terrain boosted Discharge. Just listen to the delivery of this line.
Discharge!
With this final painful attack, Naganadel can't even counter with Thunderbolt like Ash wanted and is defeated by Discharge. Naganadel is unable to battle. Then Kukui and Tapu Koko high-five each other similarly to how Ash and Pikachu high-five each other when they're about to perform 10 million volt Thunderbolt. Ash is now down to his final Pokemon, his partner Pikachu. The final match has come down to Tapu Koko versus Pikachu. One could call this an electric shock showdown. Ash has Pikachu start with his iconic Thunderbolt, and Tapu Koko charges right in with Dazzling Gleam. The attacks collide intensely, but Pikachu is ultimately knocked to the ground. So Ash follows up with Quick Attack. Pikachu is unable to land a hit at first, which allows Tapu Koko to strike back with Dazzling Gleam, but Pikachu dodges the ferocious attack. Pikachu then uses Iron Tail to hit Tapu Koko and then lands another direct hit that knocks Tapu Koko to the ground. Now it's time for Tapu Koko's signature move. Kukui commands it to use Nature's Madness. It strikes the ground and a powerful magic fills the battlefield, ready to strike down Pikachu. But Pikachu defends from the attack using Electro Web, nullifying the attack. With the dust and smoke surrounding Tapu Koko, Pikachu charges it with Quick Attack and lands a direct hit. Then it slams Tapu Koko into the ground with Quick Attack. This same thing actually happened to Pikachu and Ash's first battle against Rourke, the Orberg City gym leader. When Pikachu battled Rourke's trainers, it used Headbutt against Pikachu, sending it into the air. Then it quickly used another Headbutt to slam Pikachu into the ground. Pikachu then uses Electro Web to trap Tapu Koko and then unleashes Thunderbolt from above. But to reduce the damage taken, Tapu Koko uses Discharge inside the Electro Web, resulting resulting in a huge explosion. After that, Kukui praises Ash's growth and strength throughout the Alola League, saying just how much better he's gotten. Tapu Koko then signals to Kukui that it wants to use a Z-move with him, but with Kukui already having used his Z-move with Incineroar, he won't be able to use one again. Well, Tapu Koko isn't having that, and summons forth the other 3 Island Guardians so they can sing a song together. Their harmonies produce a magical shower of energy that restores the Z-power within the Z-rings of Ash and Kukui, granting them an additional use of a Z-move each. A similar situation would occur later in Pokemon Journeys, where Eternatus would grant Ash and Leon an extra use of Gigantamax in their final match. Tapu Koko then bestows upon Kukui the Tapunium Z Crystal, which holds the power of a legendary Z move known as Guardian of Alola. This move was used by a group of heroic people in ancient times to save Alola. Kukui and Tapu Koko team up to use this Z move. Kukui says Ash and Pikachu should also use their Z move as well, and Ash's Z Crystal turns into Pikachunium Z, which allows him to use 10 million volt Thunderbolt. Kukui and Tapu Koko ready their Z moves and Z energy, while Ash and Pikachu do the same, even doing their signature high five before charging up their power. But then this match turns into one of David versus Goliath, as Pikachu must quite literally defeat a giant, as the move Guardian of Alola transforms Tapu Koko into a towering giant of immense power. Kukui is ready to deliver the final blow, and as Kukui yells out Guardian of Alola, the flashing sequence between him and Tapu Koko is almost the same as when Ash and Pikachu use Gigavolt Havoc. Now the battle has come down to a final clash between both of their Z moves. This is the greatest clash in all of Pokemon up until this point, with both sides giving it their all, and the animation is absolutely brilliant here. We even get a neat Kamehameha reference from Dragon Ball when Ash and Pikachu launch their Z move. As they hold back Tapu Koko, Ash and Pikachu think back on their entire island journey as they feel the energy of Alola. He thinks back on all his battles, every moment he's been here in Alola, and this just goes to show how much of an impact this region and its people and culture have had on Ash. He even considers this region his second home. The various moments we see include Ash getting his Z-ring from Tapu Koko in Alola to New Adventure, Ash battling Tapu Koko in the Guardians Challenge, Ash battling Hala in Trial and Tribulation, Ash helping Kiawe on delivery missions in Young Kiawe Had a Farm, Ash and Pikachu seeing Tapu Lele in Partner Promises, Ash and his friends watching the flowers bloom in Lord's Talala Land, Ash's Rockruff evolving into Lycanroc in Rising from the Ruins, Nabi evolving from Cosmo into Solgaleo in Revealing the Stuff of Legend, Ash and his friends saying goodbye to Celesteela in Rise and Shine Starship, Ash, Pikachu, and Rowlet playing together in Some Kind of Laziness, Hapu performing the ceremony required to become Pony Island's Kahuna in A Grand Debut, and Ash and his friends arriving back in Alola in Securing the Future. The two moves collide even further with all their power, and Ash and Pikachu become one with the power of Alola to completely push back Tapu Koko and deliver the final powerful blow. A huge explosion ensues, and after all the dust finally settles, Tapu Koko collapses to the ground, making Pikachu the winner. After winning the Alola Pokemon League and becoming the region's first champion, Ash also wins the exhibition match against Kukui. This victory also marks Pikachu's 4th win against the legendary Pokemon, with his other 3 being against Brandon's Regice, Tobias's Latios, and Gladion's Silvally, and yes, Silvally is counted as a legendary. Ash also makes the same face he made when he became champion after defeating Gladion, a face full of disbelief that he actually won, and everyone simply cheers for Ash on his outstanding accomplishment. Ash would make this same face later in Pokemon Journeys when he defeats Cynthia too. Kukui congratulates Ash on his victory, and like any typical parent, Ash's mom cheers from the stands to congratulate Ash on his victory. Kukui basks in the glory of his great Alola Pokemon League, proud of how successful this region's very first Pokemon League was. He even says that Ash, all of them, were the best part. This now marks the conclusion of the 17-episode-long Alola League Manalo Conference, the longest Pokemon League in history. It's also the second Pokemon League to end with Ash battling a legendary Pokemon, although this time winning it. This episode also marks the conclusion to Ash and Kukui's 4-part battle, now the longest Pokemon battle in Pokemon anime history. Prior to this, the longest battle was Ash vs Paul in the Sinnoh League at 3 episodes. And finally, even the narrator congratulates Ash on his victory.
They won the Alola Pokemon League, and then Ash and his Pokemon won the exhibition match against Professor Kukui. Congratulations, Ash. Congratulations, Pikachu.
Ash has defended his title as Alola champion and pulled out all the stops to defeat Kukui's impressive team and even Tapu Koko, an island guardian. We've now covered all the hidden details and Easter eggs in this entire battle, so comment your favorite details down below. Thanks for watching, and a special thank you to our channel members for their extra support. For more Pokemon battle breakdowns, click the videos on screen. Until next time, train hard, and I'll catch you guys later.